in the building industries. So we are also being honored being a partner with Microcorp Sdn Bhd. Faculty of Built Environment, Universiti of Malaya has been working very closely with Microcorp Sdn Bhd. We have even signed MOA with Microcorp, and Microcorp Audiswa have been our close partner in developing knowledge and also technology-wise when we talk about facilities management and also building performance. Um, so today, as a part of Elite at UM program, this is a program that has been created by UM in order to acknowledge and also honor our industry partner. So Mr. Sha'rainon is one of the captain industry that was appointed by Universiti of Malaya to assist and also to be side by side with Faculty of Environment specifically at UM to nurture and also to give us insights and also the experience of industry, so our UM community are not being left behind when we talk about industry practice. So we'll be able to um, merge and also stitch between the knowledge and also research that we conduct in UM to the practice of the industry, so we'll be able to give back to the community. So again, I'm honored to be here having Mr. Sha'rainon in this special webinar. So without further ado, I would like to call upon our special guest, Mr. Sha'rainon, to deliver his special experience and also knowledge about bidding performance and how Archibus are able to support the advancements of building performance in buildings. So I pass the floor to Mr. Sha'rainon. So floor is yours, Mr. Sha'rainon. Thank you so much.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. Thank you, Prof, for the long, lengthy introductions. Yeah, actually, I'm working together with UM as part of the collaboration activities in the facility management or digital facility management activity quite some times. We have been discussing and also doing a few research and also a documentation, especially for CIDB together with UM. So, and I've been honored to be together with UMs, especially on this industry. And thank you very much for allowing me to be part of the UM on providing knowledge and also sharing about the digital facility management or digital buildings automation or whatever things that related to buildings activity or building services. Okay, my name is Ahmad Sha'rainon bin Muhammad Syarani. I'm from Microcorp Sdn Bhd, and also we have been known in the industry, not only in Malaysia but in the part of the world as part of the Archibus Solution Center Kuala Lumpur. So we're proud to carry the names of Kuala Lumpur because of the since we've been introduced to Archibus in year 2006, and where our first time came for the meeting in one of the user conference in the state. So when I mentioned about Malaysia, unfortunately they didn't know where is Malaysia. But when I said about Kuala Lumpur, KLCC, they easily pick up. Oh, they know where we are actually. So that's where when we've been given the opportunity to become part of the links or the networks, we renamed our organization become Archibus Solution Center Kuala Lumpur instead of Archibus Solution Center Malaysia. So today, actually today our topics, our sharing session is about buildings, condition assessments, or building audits, or many names that can coin it like asset condition assessment, building condition assessment, you know. So, but before I start with the topics or with the knowledge about the building condition assessment or building surveying, so I would like to share a little bit about what is Archibus and to all the students and to all participants that might didn't know who is or what is Archibus is all about. Okay, feel free if you have any question to write it at the chat, and then I will monitor the chat and maybe I will answer it and immediately or later times of our session. And meanwhile, this session will be conducted in English, and if you want to ask in Malay also can. Except that I only can speak dua language, English or Malaysian, bahasa Malaysia. Anyway, you can feel free to type chat, or if you would like to speak, feel free to on the mic, and speak. Or maybe you can on your video, then I will share your video on screen. And this session will end up at 1 p.m. and please remind me the time. I might forgotten the time. So I might talking more than 3 hours later on. Okay. What is Archibus actually? So let's go for the first introduction about the Archibus. Okay. Archibus is founded in 1983. It started with as a software focusing on real estate, workplace, and facility management. And they provide a complete system centralizing of the entire inventory of drawings, that's covering from leases, system, asset, spaces, information about people, information about processes that have comes together with it, and of course, it's very old software. And because of the old software, normally they are matured and the maturity is very high, and it's been aligned together with the or aligned together with the improvement of the industry, knowledge about the FM, knowledge about the asset management, knowledge about space management, knowledge about managing the drawing, managing the data in the building industry. So that's why I said it's a matured software, and they coin a lot of names, like CAFM, PIFM, Total Integrated Facility Management, Computer Aided Facility Management, you name it, so they coin many names, while since 1983 to date, so have been through a lot of upgrading, changes, challenges on the partners that implementing the systems in many parts of the world. Maybe I think more than 150 countries that have the system, and we have more than 3,000 partners across the globe. And they are leveraging transparency, and then they become intuitive tools to respond faster and plan smarter. And meanwhile, who we are, okay, Microcorp, we've been established in 1997 as a IT company, IT company that providing IT outsourcing services. Mean that those days we are taking over IT department, we're not talking over business, but we are talking taking over IT department, and then we serve back as a IT services, serve back as we are the IT department of an organization. It's like very old. We start the business established in 1997. We actively involved in the business in year 2000, and we become the ITFM. ITFM. I think those days in year 2000, we are the FM for IT. So we manage few public listed company as part of the IT department, and I serve. I act many head. I'm the head of IT. I'm the director of IT. So because we are part of the public listed organization, sometimes I'm the general manager of the IT department, sometimes of the IT director of the organization, because we are taking over the IT department. So it means that when we taking over the IT departments, all the process of their operation of their organization been taken care by us. It's like It's like you are the FM company, you are managing the facility for the clients. You know? So, but meanwhile, we at that time we are just focusing on the IT matters like the internet, the Wi-Fi, the PC, the servers. You know, whatever related to IT those days, like the card access system, the CCTV. You know, so anything like the building automation, we taking care for the clients. We taking care for the our long-term partners or clients because we part of them, so our we are supporting their core business, you know? Maybe their core business is oil and gas or utility. We are actually supporting the IT matters or related to their organization. Okay, that's what we are those days. Before we focus on later on, I mean, we just focusing on the providing the facility management or providing a digital facility management or digital construction elements in the industry. We support regional Archibus clients, not only Malaysia. We are supporting Singapore, we are supporting Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, sometimes China, sometimes we've been requested to support the people from Japan, you know, on the not just on the Archibus implementation, but sometimes on the knowledge about how to implement digital FM in the organization. Okay, of course, nowadays our focus area is no longer IT. We are just providing the integrated workplace management system. I mean, this is many. I mean, this name change. They evolve along the year. You know, so now we are talking about integrated workplace management system. Those days they talk about total infrastructure facility management. Those days maybe they talk about computer aided facility management. It's many. I mean, many names being created due to the evolution of the industry or technology or the processes. Because of the evolution of the processes, because of the evolution of the technology. Okay, this is a little bit our journey, Archibus journey in Malaysia. Okay, been introduced in year 2001, and now we are year 2021. So we are almost like 20 years in Malaysian industry. This is a journey that we been together with Archibus. There is a up and down. There is a sometimes there's a dry, sometimes there's flooded. With many projects. Depends on the construction industry mode. Like this during this COVID-19. The construction is slow. Maybe our activity is no longer in construction, but we focusing back on the people on providing real estate. So they are being calling people like us to look, man, I need you to provide back our real estate inventory because we need to relook back our real estate investment. So these are the things that we hit up and down. Sometimes we focusing, sometimes the industry is heavily on the construction. So we are heavily involved on that construction activities. But now during the situation where it's not a down, but it's a slow down, but now it's picking up. Many of organizations are start looking for the inventory of their real estate. Start to ask me, how can we audit their building? How can we do a condition assessment to their assets? So they require a solution that can help them to perform the work faster because of the limitation of time they have now. Maybe they want to let go the asset. They need to have people quickly do the assessment of their asset. Maybe they need to buy a new asset. So that's why I said we are in the sometimes we are in the up position, sometimes we are at the below down there. But doesn't mean that we don't have business. But mashallah, tabarakallah, we survive in the both environment. It's low economy or high economy. We are actually works together to help the clients. Okay. Basically, this is a few of the project that we implemented. And I think recently we just completed our during COVID-19 project activity, and we are completion. We do the completion works for the Perkeso. So for Perkeso for numbers of their buildings in Malaysia nationwide. Okay. Okay. This is a list of trusted organization in Malaysia as part of our client. We have EPF, we have Post Malaysia, we have UTMs, we have few universities that together with us. Okay, now we go back to Archibus. Remember that we are actually in the era of the digital, where we talk about big data. So the building is one of the big data components. And when we look at the environment of big data, normally we just thinking about the finance, the human resource. Because the finance, we talk about numbers of how much money we have, how many accounts that we have, client that we have. When we talk about human resource, we talk about how many staff that we have, the payrolls. So, but then how about the buildings? Do we have the information about the buildings? Maybe one house, not many information. Maybe one faculty buildings, not much information. Maybe 1,000. How about two faculty? How about five faculty? How about you have maybe like, I know the figure like University Technology Malaysia. How about 400 buildings? How about you have one campus? How about two campus? Where you put your data? So that's where Archibus come in, and where we actually can centralize your asset data, your facility data. Not only that, we talk about the processes that involve with the data. So we talk about when processes, talk about your procedures, your checklist, we keep it. And then this is live data, So when we talk about big data, of course, we talk about, we have all the big data. If I count the numbers of the room, maybe people don't, you have difficult to count numbers of rooms, How about the numbers of door? Do you think the numbers of door important? Number of door important? Okay, not many important, But for certain people, the numbers of door important. For example, the security people that managing the key, So there's big data for that, But for the maintenance, if you have a door, so definitely you have a manufactured by who supply it, what is the price, what is the cost of maintenance. Just imagine every one asset maybe have maybe have 10 data tied to it. One asset at least have 10 data tied to it. So imagine you have 1 million asset. How big the data that you need to centralize. Okay, so that's about the central data. Okay, connector. We've been connected with many software, many application. So this is not a promotion. This is the knowledge about how actually connector data related to, later on I will touch base about the condition assessment. This is the amount of the big players of software in the market. Like maybe the student only knows Microsoft, because we've been used the Microsoft when you want to write your thesis, you do your Excel, you do your assignment. Maybe not many know Oracle, maybe not many know about SAP, but later on maybe you can start searching who they are, what are they actually provided, and then why we want to connect with them. So remember that before this I talked about big data. So definitely you want to connect to the people that providing solution, because there is a data behind it. For example, Microsoft, maybe they have a simple data, single sign on. You log into the system, they give you the emails, So definitely I have a numbers of users. Oracle's where you put your database. SAP is about your enterprise resource planning. They have a financial system, human resource system inside there. So these are the component of data. That's why we want to connect with them, because when they have data, we also have a lot of data that to be connected. That's why we build the connector to make the system connected. And not only that, we also have a connection with the sensors, IoT. When we talk about sensors later on, I will touch base about how we actually link why this sensor is very important when we want to do the condition assessment. Okay, and of course, enhance insight into festival performance, because we have data, we have processes, definitely people want to see how it's been performing, how you can transform all data to a meaningful information to a certain people. Not many people knows how to read the data, but you need to help the organization, to help the people to transform the data, so then the other person easily can translating, can read the information without need to ask people why numbers like this. And these numbers or this data have many meanings. Maybe different people look on different angle and translate it, use it on different way. Maybe the finance people look on the finance matters. Maybe the HR, human resource, look on the HR matters. But the FMS, look many mode, many angle, because they want to translate this information in order for them to serve their client, yeah, to serve their maybe to serve their client core business. Okay, and of course when you transform the data, you need to display it. So these are some of the display of the data. Like we have a head, when we hook up with the human resource, we have the head counts and capacity in relation to the buildings. Like this building, we have 188 head count, and we know that the capacity of the building is 300. So what happens if the security look at this, so they know that, oh, now it's 198 people inside the building. And there is another, the capacity available, capacity being designed is for 300. So it means that it's almost full. So, and they are looking on from the angle of security. How about there are people that looking on the angle of the cleaning services? They said that almost full house. So we require to relook back our service level, whether we are already prepared our team to handle the cleaning activities. So it's like the data have different meaning from different people when they read it, and they have a different processor related to that. Okay, that's why the transforming this information is important, and because people read on the people look the data on a different angle and have different determination, different translation, different answer. Okay. Now, after simple but fast explanation, these are the module. Let's me move around, and people can see. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let's see about these are the modules that that we have in Archibus. So we've been created on different quadrant. We have a real property, a real estate quadrant. We have workplace and facility. We have workplace infrastructure. We have engineering and operation. Each of the quadrant, they have modules that related to the facility management activity. Okay, let's start with about real estate and portfolio. Normally when people want to manage a facility, they will start asking how many building that you have, what type of building that you have, whether you are lease it, you own it, or you rent it, or you sublease it. Many times. So because of the intention is because you want to know whether the asset is yours or not, and then you can start to limit yourself, come up with a scope of work, what you should do and what you shouldn't do. That's why the information to ask this real estate is important, especially when you want to do a condition assessment, because later on you want to maybe condition assessment, not very, maybe you want to do audit, building audits. So that's why these are question that you need to ask yourself or to ask your client or to ask the building owner, what type of building that you have. Because when you want to collect the data later on, you know how to transform it into a proper report. So that's why the real estate portfolio management is part and parcel of Archibus system. And inside here, there is a listing of the building, type of the building, value of the building, what else, who own it, who rent it, how many people, how many tenants inside the building, so these are the where all this data has been kept, and all the processes also inside this module. Later on I will show you the real Archibus system. After that, we have under the same quadrant, we have a capital project management. capital project management is something to do with you managing the projects, at the same time you managing the capital budgeting, or you managing the fund before you want to transfer the fund to create as a project. So these are the activity and project management involved in that. If you learn about project management activity, you can use this module, okay, and read this module, look on this module, and this system you have it in faculty. If you want to learn about the project management in a digital way, you can access the system. Okay, because the system talking about project management in digital way. That's why sometimes I call it digital construction. Inside the project management have not just a Gantt chart, or not just a Microsoft project, but the whole process of you want to create the construction into digital or the project to digital. So that's under the real estate and real property quadrants. They also have a commissioning. Okay, they also have a part and parcel of the audit process inside this capital project management under the name of the condition assessment. Okay, let's move to the next quadrant. We talk about workplace and facility. Okay. Under this workplace and facility, they have a space planning management, and also they have a move management. Okay. Under the space planning, you talk about spaces. You talk about your drawings. We talk about now we talk about Revit. We talk about BIM. And how rich of BIM data. So you want to capture this data and translate it to the assets. Just now I talked about the space in planning. There is all the information about the drawings, about the drawing in terms of 2D drawing or 3D drawing, or in terms of Revit drawings, and not just a drawing, but in the inventory of your spaces, who own it, who use it, what type of space, what is the size of the space, what is the occupancy types, utilization rates, and how you want to calculate the ROI about your spaces. It's all inside the space planning and space management module. And not only that, there is a processes in related to the space, like a space chargeback. If you want to do if you want to do in the strategic planning of your space. So these are the modules that have that capability, especially during this COVID-19. These are the most famous modules, because people want to start looking back of their spaces. Like the hospital, they need to look back whether their space are going to have cram if there is a many COVID-19 patient came to the hospital. What they should do. So what they should plan. So that's why during this pandemics, during this COVID-19 COVID-19 situation, Archibus space management modules is most popular modules that's being sell to the market. Okay, after the space management, there is a module called move management. So move management is where, especially now, when you want to manage your space, definitely you want to move people, move assets. So this where you are start utilizing the solution to manage move. Why move management is important? Because there is a cost actually related to the move activity that normally we don't pick up. Normally we don't manage it properly. There is a cost behind the move management actually. Every move activity, there is a cost related to that, whether the cost fall under expenses or the cost falls under capex. Is up to the organization how they want to charge it. But definitely there is a cost. I think there's a orang dahulu ada berkata, the old people always said, the ancient people said, if you move more than seven times, you are going to become bankrupt. So those days we don't realize it. After I found that there is a move management activity and there is a cost of it, that's the reason why these ancient people said that if you move more than seven times, definitely there is a cost involved seven times. Whether the furniture is broken, whether you can't use that furniture anymore due to the limitation of the future space that they have or that you're going to occupy. Maybe the future space you need to buy more furniture because the new space that you want to occupy is bigger. So you need to put something extra, you have some extra features to your spaces. Okay, the next quadrant is they call it workplace infrastructure. Under the workplace infrastructure, there is where your asset management, your inventory of asset, inventory of your furniture, inventory of your equipment sit inside this module. All the data are related to the asset inventory, not just asset inventory, but it's also a processes together with the inventory, like the asset life cycle. So you want to manage the asset life cycle. Okay? Definitely, when you want to manage asset life cycle, you need to do and you need to perform a condition assessment and audit activity. You want to study about the how your asset behave. Before you want to propose for replacement, before you want to propose for buy a new one, or before you want to propose for a new project under your capital project management activity. So there are the module, the asset management are the module that been referred because they are integrated the element of the asset in the space and the activity related to the asset on the next quadrant that I want to explain. Okay. Uh, under the workplace infrastructure module, also there is a activity related to the workplace like service desk, hoteling. Hoteling. Like during this situation, hoteling during the pandemic situation, hoteling is one of the important element, important module because you want to manage people in and out to your organization. Maybe you have many people in your organization globally or nationwide. You want to come to the HQ and then you want to spend for 2 hours. You want to find a table for them to work. So you want to manage these activities. That's where the hoteling is being used to manage this activity. And when you have hoteling, actually you will start utilizing your asset and also your space. That's why I call it a processor. Reservation is same thing. Reservation like you want to reserve a seat, reserve a room, reserve a furniture, reserve an equipment. So these are the processes that related to the assets. A call center where you want to log a complaint. You want to receive a complaint. When you want to receive, what are the processes activity related to the complaint? One complaint when you receive, they involve many processes after that. You need to distribute the complaint to other people, to the next people until it been resolved. Then you need to get back the information to give feedback to the client. This they call it call center in the workplace services system. Fleet management. This one is the best part because we created a fleet management system in Malaysia that utilizing Archibus as an engine to manage more than 1,000 asset or vehicles that one of the university has. And of course, those days we don't have WhatsApp. We created a system only with SMS dapat. The system is very unique, because it can handle one too many booking, one too many place, one to one place. So this is related to the asset like cars, buses, ambulance. They always been moved. So we want to we created this module fleet management because we want to save. We want to introduce a saving, not just a saving in terms of money, but in terms of saving the numbers of driver that you required in your organization and numbers of vehicle that actually you are required in your organization. You know that when you bought an airplane like AirAsia, so you cannot stop utilizing the airplane. You need to maximize the utilization of the airplane, of the jet, of your flight, of your whatever Airbus like AirAsia. So whenever they are not flying, it means you are not utilizing it. So they need to keep on flying. Like now during the pandemic, they cannot fly. So we are not utilizing the assets. Okay, we just looking on the airplane. When you talk about fleet management, how about the buses? Yeah, we saw that people give reward to organization like a school. Okay, I give you bus, because you reach certain achievement, I give you bus. I give you bus, for the school, for the faculty, for the university. But if you calculate, the utilization rate of the buses, compare to numbers of hours they've been parked. So you will know if you can audit that, you will surprise what are the costs when they park. When they park, of course, when they are moved, there is a cost, but there is also a saving that they achieve. There is a reason why they move. But when they park, what are the costs actually? This is the beauty part. We want to study what are the costs of the buses being parked if the school are not utilizing it, if the faculty, if the university are not utilizing it. What are the costs? Not utilized. The cost of not utilized, which one is bigger? The cost of utilized giving benefit. The cost of not utilized, not giving benefit, giving a cost that cannot be recovered. So sometimes I just wonder why we should give a bus. Why not we just give them a contract to subscribe a bus service? It's much cheaper. That's where we found in UK. There's many bus service company, but normally the school, the organization, they don't own the bus because they don't own the asset. They only want to use it. Whenever they want, they book and they use, and they don't need to maintain it. This is one part and parcel that I always puzzle. When you have a bus, you need to have a driver. Then you need a bigger car park, bigger bus park to park the bus. You cannot simply park the bus in the roadside. Okay, that's not the point. But if you want to do audit, condition assessment, not just a building, you also can apply for your assets, and you also can apply for your vehicles for the transportation. Okay, now I move on to the next quadrant. Okay, next quadrant, you talk about engineering and operation. You talk about building operation. You talk about environmental and risk management. Under the building operation is where the element of computerized maintenance management. Okay, when you look at Archibus, when you ask me if you are a computerized maintenance management solution or system, definitely I said yes, we have that module. The module falls under building operation, on demand, plan preventive, and condition assessment. Okay, so under this activity, actually, if you learn about the operation maintenance, so each of the module is the element of the digital subject of the operation management, operation maintenance, tactical operation. You call it, So these are the element of digital. When you talk about element of digital, you compare the journal, you compare the books, the textbooks, the element inside there. The digital part is inside the Archibus module. Is inside this building operation module. Meanwhile, the environmental risk management. Okay, when you talk about you want to do audit energy, this is the beauty part. We have the environmental risk management. We talk about any energy audit, but we are not come up with the report of the energy assessment reports because that's been done by the energy manager. But we are the element of data of the energy. Okay? The carbon footprint, the certification scoring, the hazard maps, MSDS, waste management. This is where the element of data of that related to environmental and risk management sitting inside this module or inside this submodule. Okay, so I go to the next slide. Okay, so inside Archibus, when we talk about why we why I like this the element of inside the Archibus, because they are talking about the strategic management activity inside the system. Okay, when you talk about the strategy element, you can find the element of strategic management in each of the modules. So that's why I said it's good if you want to learn about digital system, we can refer to Archibus because there is an element of digital and also element of the activity and processes inside the system. Because this system initially been created by a 6 university. I mean, the Archibus has been created by the 6 university under the National Endowment, US President National Science Endowment Program. Mean that all the modules came from the research. All the modules came from the study. It's not being created by people like programmers. Of course, programmers make a system, but the system initiated by a process-oriented people. Maybe they're interested in programming. Maybe they're interested on IT. They create a system. But because of their process system, they know they are in the university. So element of this information is inside, is built inside this. Okay, I have actually many slides of this. I need to cut short of this explanation, and because I want to move to the about the digitalization. Okay, Archibus and digitalization. When you talk about digitalization, so it involves on the organization and also on the people, because these are the people that are going to be digital. Because we already have PC that is already digital. We already have handphone that already digital. But now how the organization and people can become digital when they use the system, when they use the PC, when they use the environment, when they use the Wi-Fi, when they use the data center, when they use the data. Last time, people are not going to digital because they have pen and pencil, they have paper, they have books, they write in the books, they type it, they type, they use a typewriter to type it. So they go. We don't call it digital, we call it manual. We need to repeat. We need to make a use by photocopy, then we buy a photocopy machine, so because then you can replicate it, so when we decide to use notebooks, when we decide to use phone, mobile phone, when you decide to use iPad, stylus iPad, so everything now is the technology is in the digital form. I believe that you need to remember many password nowadays instead of you need to hold many key those days. Those days, if you are the FMers, I remember that at your, and definitely you have a bunch of keys to remember because you need to open many doors. But now when you talk about digital, you have bunch of password that need to be remembered. Sometimes you need to subscribe a software where you want to keep your password inside the software. Just imagine, how many bits. So this is the talk about digitals. People want to digital. Okay, now the starting point of you digital because of you are start utilizing devices. Maybe your father, your grandfather also now moving to digital because they need to use My Sejahtera. They need to use My Sejahtera to scan. Those days they don't need because now they have handphone. They say, if I write, I will touch the pen, then I will get the virus. So I want to use my handphone. I want to scan it. So automatically, these processes introduce digital people and become digital organization. People become, the organization slowly become digital. So that's why when you talk about organization and people, you want to know what type of organization that you have, understand what is the changes that you are actually introduced, and then you want to define, what are the mode of the delivery of the system to the people. Okay, I touched a little bit on this because of the way we do survey now, or the way we do audit future or now and future is on digital. We utilize digital platform. It's no longer and write the reports or capture the information by writing it on piece of paper. So we are in the mode of we capture information by using handphone, whether you write on the phone, you type on the phone, or you taking picture on the phone, or you taking video. Okay. So of course, this is the why this digital things better, because of the fast processing, blah blah blah. I think you can search this uh, many jargons. Okay, let's move on the okay, this is the 7 foundation of the FM digitalization model. Like the most important thing when you learn about the strategic management element those days, maybe in future, you need to set a vision. This is the most important thing. What is your vision? And then after that you talk about organization, and then after that you talk about the governance and pipeline, then delivery method, the technology that you want to use, whether you want to use 100% digital or you want to use semi-digital. The moment you decide, you are actually deciding the saving mode of the element of your organization, and then automatically will created people inside your organization, and also improvise about maybe your service models. Okay, let's move on to, okay, I skip this. Okay, this is the sample of deployment of Archibus. We have many type of deployment, whether you want to on site, on prem, on clouds. They have many types, and it's also a scalability. Okay, this is a one of sample. Okay, I skip this because I want to focus about the subject. It's a product roadmap. So not important. We can have this. I will share this slide later. Okay, let's start about the demo. How actually we utilize this uh, for the condition assessment. So any question? I'm sorry for the interruption just now. I think we lost almost 20 minutes on that. So any question, everyone? I open to all before I move to our real subject about how to use Archibus for the building performance activity. How can I utilize Archibus for you to perform a condition assessment? So any question? Prof, any question, Prof? Anything that you like them to ask, or maybe they shy to ask,
Ni Cik Sharon, you
Yeah.
punya apa? You punya apa you punya video dekat skrin tu duduk tengah-tengah, boleh alih sikit ke
Okay,
bawah
okay.
ke?
Sekejap.
Dia terganggu dengan
Terganggu Okay.
pemetaan tu lah. Sambil-sambil tu mungkin I just have a very quick question that I just would like to clarify lah. As I mentioned earlier on just now, I think you have involved a lot in terms of projects, not just in private sector, but also to the government sector lah. So if I may say, just quickly have a little bit of feedbacks. If you wanted to know the the it's not the approach, the aspiration when we talk about system development. How do you see the overall aspect of system development, software, IoT, AR, and so forth, with regards to the government way forward and also the private way forward? How do you see this evolution going on between government and also private sector as a whole?
Okay. Actually, the private sector, they don't want to waste time to develop things that been developed by others. They just want to make use the system that readily available and move on, move faster. Move faster, because for them, why should I develop? Because I want to use, because I want to apply the result. So I don't create. I don't want to create things which somebody already created for me. I just want to use it. Like, why should we create a phone, a handphone, meanwhile Apple already created for you? So this one of the from my viewpoint on the different when talk about the government and the private sector. Okay, and meanwhile on the government, so they like to own it, because of the I mean, maybe this is the old mentality about the data. They said that data is very critical. They don't want to share the data. So by having that, that's why they spend time a lot of to create their own software, to create their own system. Okay. I learned when I did a job, or I attended the meeting in the state or meeting in the France or Europe. There is a similarity. The government over there, but they are improvising. So they know that if they create, they will lost time, but they actually want to use the result. Why should I lost time when I need to wait for a longer period because I want to own the system? Meanwhile, somebody already created for me, so I don't want to. I want to create it again. because I don't want them to own my data. Okay. So these are two different modes. Private sector, they said subscribe, use the existing software. Okay. If I want to have different, maybe I spend a little bit on customizing. I ask them to customize for me. Okay. But in the government sector, those days they said no, we want to create our own. You know, we have our manpower. But when I look back, the activities, when you create, actually you don't have you are actually outsourcing to another company to create for you. Not you yourself that created it. You're just creating a requirement. But the third party that doesn't know about the subject matters, they doesn't know about the inventory, they doesn't know about the software. I mean, they are the software house, fine, but doesn't know about the subject matter. Created an application based on the requirement that been told them to create it, to create, to develop. Definitely there is a glitch. There is a time. It takes time. So because of the first, you don't have basis when you want to create a requirement. Maybe you look at this guy, look at this guy. You are not thinking what actually you want. You just look on that what actually we want. Then we ask somebody to create it for you. I mean, to develop it for you. And meanwhile, that guy doesn't know about your environment, your culture, your. I mean, they need to learn. They need to spend time. And most of the time, when this guy asks, you don't have answers. You say, please recommend. I mean, this is my experience. You don't have answers. You ask them, please recommend. So these are the mistakes. That guy, this is IT guy that doesn't know about your environment. But now you ask them to recommend. Definitely, the recommendation might be not I don't say wrong, but not right on the what you actually required. This is what I always I came across prof kan. Dia become the situation where when you want to recommend, they also doesn't know what they actually asking. I mean, this is normal. Like I think this situation, prof, like you want to renovate the house lah. Simple matter. You want to renovate the house. You don't want to hire a proper contractor, prof. You start to hire maybe this guy said how to construct the house lah, kan? So and then you yourself also don't. I mean, this is experience. The mistake that I experience for me also. Kan? Those days when I learn I want to renovate my house, not giving a right requirement to a guy that going to renovate my house. And I know that they are actually maybe a company that actually doing a repair works. Repair works. But anyway, this is the experience. We don't give a requirement. They don't also produce that requirement. We thought that they know, I know, kind basis. End up they become a dispute. So these are the situation that end up dispute, and because of the requirement is not being created properly. Jadi okay, I mean, if you discuss further, they become talk about the development system lah kan. So, tapi anyway, the two mode is that the private sector would like to have a result faster. The government would like to own the system. But anyway, there is a changes of movement when we have a PDPA Act. We have I mean, we are improvising the IT element. We are improvising the IT sector. We are improvising the way of we want to handle the data, the security element, and slowly some of the government agency are changed. They are changed. They start to have, why should I develop? I should own it. Sorry, I should subscribe it. And then when I subscribe, I can use the system immediately and get the result faster. Because the important is the result, and not we have to spend time to develop it. So the result you want to utilize it. So there's an evolution. Okay, this is not about Malaysia. This is about global. We talk about it's not about Malaysia punya situation. US pun sama juga. I mean, the government say I want to develop it, so they develop from scratch. UK pun sama juga, same. UK also the same. I mean, anywhere is the same because they evolve. We also learn from them. They say, oh, they develop, so we also develop. But anyway, when we learn, then we start to think about why should we reinvent the wheel, you know. So of course, we should develop something that when you want to use the statement reinvent the wheel, you know, you need to develop something that you are the better than others, you know. Then only you can use the statement, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm doing the better than others. Okay. Then okay, but now we are actually use why should I reinvent the wheel? I want to use the standard system. Then use it. Because the important is we want to analyze the data. The data is the important thing, you know. So did I answer to your question, Prof? So there is a
Yes,
two
yes,
different
thank
what?
you. Thank you so much. Perhaps later we'll ask more questions to you.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I would like to share about maybe I change the concept of screen. Need to share about the slide that I created to explain about the condition assessment. At least because this subject related to building performance. So by having this condition assessment, uh, share. Okay. Actually, condition assessment is the module inside Archibus and it's related to building surveying when you want to do audit. When you want to do audit, you require a tools. You know, that those days, the tool of audits lah. Pen, pencil, measurement tapes, paper. Prof, eh? All these are the tools of audit, kan? Of course,
Yes,
knowledge,
yes.
experience, because you need to write a reports. You need to produce a reports at the end of the day, you know. Maybe photograph. You need to have a camera. These are the tools those days when you want to perform the building audits, you know. And I remember the clipboard is important, you know. The clipboard, you know, when you want to write something and when you go to audit activity, you don't bring a clipboard. You just imagine how difficult you want to write when you are standing, or how difficult you want to pick up the data. You know? So anyway, let's see this the slide that we prepared. Nampak eh?
Boleh nampak tapi dia tak go
Tak,
full slide
dia
je.
tak slide eh. Okay, let me slide show. Okay, right.
Alright, Chun.
Okay. Condition assessment. Okay. Overview, little bit overview about the overview tasks and reports in managing the process related to the assessing the condition of the room or the assets, or we call it equipment, because, or maybe we call it furniture and equipment. It depends on the type of the asset that you have, you know. And the activity that's, of course, to document and then to document the information that you captured, you know, for a strategic important element of the company, physical property, plant and equipment. And so normally this is the why we use this condition assessment, because we want to know the condition of the room and of the asset. We want to produce a report, and then you want to manage the process of how we assess the asset. Okay. We also want to ensure the asset is can be used, you know, in the properly manner with the safety guideline, you know, and we want to also to use to evaluate the strategic importance of the asset, strategic important element of the asset. We want to evaluate. Why? Because uh, actually we want to avoid two things lah. Unnecessary replacement and unnecessary repair. Replace when they could have been repaired when they should have been replaced. You know, you want to avoid these two things. Replace and repair. Actually, we want to avoid unnecessary replacement and unnecessary repair. Regardless whether they're building, regardless whether they're asset, furniture or equipment or whatever yang we want to audit. Okay. The benefit, of course, the benefit that you want to capture when you do a condition assessment, because uh, we want to mitigate risk. You know, when we mitigate, we cannot drop 100% risk. Only we can reduce the risk, and in the same time, we can mitigate, we can reduce when we can prioritize the issues. You know, We cannot say that I want to remove administrative cost. What I can say is I can reduce administrative cost. Reduce administrative cost is important. Then last is to extend the life cycles. To extend the life cycle. So simple audit ni kan, the execution dia is walk through, inspection, and then if you can come up with the mathematical modeling, you know. And mathematical modeling macam when you do the assessment, walk through, you capture the information, and then you give pointing system, you create a point, you know, whenever you see things, you know, and you need, of course, behind it, you need to prepare a lot of background activity before you do a walkthrough, before you perform the inspection, like this guy. You know? I think they just carry the handphone, and maybe the handphone act like a video or the camera. At the same time, they can take notes, you know. And inside the handphone, they are not just taking note. Maybe there is a mathematical modeling that they already created, and normally we call it Festive Condition Index. Many words, you know, many names, you know. Okay. This is the things that normally difficult to do. General procedures, you know, planning, what to assess, plan the program, set up necessary data. I always focusing on set up necessary data. Set up necessary data ni is actually the most important, you know, because we don't want to go to the audit only there we know what is the data. So that is not good lah actually. We need to plan activity ahead before you arrive to the site. We actually know the site. Maybe because I'm talking because those days I'm a land surveyor. Those days I'm a land surveyor. My background is I'm a land surveyor those days. Before I went to the site, I need to study the site, do the planning activities, you know. Otherwise, when I arrive to the site, only I want to do the planning, to identify what of the data that I need to collect, you know. At that time, my team are not actually, I'm not actually utilizing my team. I'm not utilizing them because when I want to start the work, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't know this, you know. So, and I will going to lose time, and the data that I'm collected are not going to be efficient or perfect, or not perfect but accurate. You know? Okay, then general procedure, planning, and on-site assessment. I think this also been explained in the classroom. But the reason why I want to highlight this is because Archibus has this activity in the system. Okay, Archibus have the activity in the system, you know? But it's not. They are not They are not showing directly. They show indirectly. You know. Okay, as on-site assessment, travel to each room and equipment item. This is the on-site assessment activity. Note the condition and record it, and then review and evaluate the result. And this is the general procedure that we always do. You know, travel, walk, you know, walk about. You know, maybe in the morning they call it walkabout session. You know, that's part and parcel of the condition assessment on the daily basis. You know? And take notes. You know, and how many times you repeat the same note that you need to take, and after a while you bored. I mean, you get bored to write it. You just ignore it. You know, so then automatically you ignore the function of taking note. You ignore because you are repeating the same thing. You know, so and then when you want to produce the reports, that's where the data missing. And then when that's where the when you want to do the evaluate, or when you want to do index condition rating, that's the data are no longer strong. Questionnaire, checklist, you know. So this also need to be prepared before you go to site. What are the questions that you want to ask yourself about the activity of condition assessment, the activity of assessing the information? If you can create the question upfront, definitely you will create the answer. You know, for example, is it in the good shape? The answer is yes or no. Okay. Is it safe? No. No. Yes. Is it clean? Not really clean. Bad. What? You know. So when you create a question, you create a checklist, then you will create the answer. You know? So when you have the question, we have the answer. Definitely, you create a rating already. You can create the rating and you remember only one or two, one or two, one or two. It's a digital. Or 01, 01, 01. It's like a computer talking each other. They talk 101, 010. So does it comply to codes and government regulation? You have the answers. So by creating this questionnaire and checklist before you go to the site, so you are actually creating the index. You are actually creating the result that you want to produce, before you go to the site. Okay. Why I said this? Because I want later on I want to bring you to the system, because the system, when you see the system, it's like, oh, like this, because these are the process behind it. Okay, like I said, when you say good, bad, normal, everything has point. Maybe the answer is like unsuitable, poor, fair, good, very good, not entered. Okay, but before you create the answer, you need to brainstorm on yourself. What does it mean poor? What does it mean fair? What does it mean good? You need to make sure that everybody have a standard answer, and so you need to have this exercise before you go to site, because after this, regardless who audit, I don't care whether they experienced or not experienced, because I already teach them how to audit, how to answer. They're going to use the system, pick up the information, and I get the faster reports. And after that, I'm going to give a professional answer. Because for me, these people on site, it's no need to have really experience yet, because it's a first round. Okay. So for example, I can teach them how to do, and then the graduates, the degree holder, they need to digest the answer. They need to digest the answer. This is most good lah, because you digest the answer, then you give a professional opinion. And of course, you need to go through the learning curve lah. Cannot just immediately can become the expert and Prof kan. You need to go back. You need to go to the site, learn about it, and then when you want to brainstorm the answer also, when you want to create the answer also meaningful. So all the answer have point, and then they become numbers. And when we audit, we must be, like I said, what are the vision and mission of your audit activity? When you have established that, definitely you can create a priority activity. Like when we learn about strategic management, we always learn about apa? Vision mission and vision mission, a SWOT analysis, SWOT, SWOT analysis, TOWS, TOWS, and short term and long term, and then you get this condition priority. How to establish this condition priority? By doing a SWOT analysis, by doing TOW analysis, come up with the strategic long term, short term element, then you can come up with this condition priority and put inside the system. Okay. I said this because when I want to teach people to use condition assessment modules, it's not about the module, it's about the thing behind the activity, how to create the activity. The activity, how to create this activity. Only then you get the information and you bring to the system. Otherwise, you start asking how to do a condition priority, then you start to develop. You can develop lah, but whether it's strategic, whether it's tactical operation, whether you are going to repeat the activity later on when you say, oh, I make a mistake, I supposed to create this first lah. Okay, so this is the, I think the one that I got it from rural health actually rural health information hub. Goal you need to set, and then you go to the measurement. Sorry, when you set the goal, when you do a measurement, you monitor the progress of the measurement. Uh, and this progress is the assessment activity. The measurement activity is an assessment activity. The assessment activity are going to get the results. This progress are going to get the results, and the results are coming for the analysis. Of course, to do this, you need to plan and then plan it properly, plan it properly. After you get the analysis, you get the results, then you start to evaluate, and then you do a further research. And then the result is meaningful. Otherwise, the result is only for that one particular site or one particular element because you don't do further research. Okay. Okay. So basically, this is the simple, short about the condition assessment module. So far, any question from the student? Any question? Whether are they still here? Shafiq, are they sleeping? Any question? Anybody would like to raise or ask before I move on to the next to show the system? Yeah. Any questions, sir? Mr. Zahri, any question?
Yes. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam, Mr. Zahri. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I was at another Kementerian Alam Sekitar punya group discussion. I was invited to participate.
Yeah.
So I missed your earlier part, but I on it, but I couldn't, reconcile the two voices,
Yeah.
Finally, I just finish off the other side discussion and come back to you. Actually, I've heard about Archibus during my teaching days,
Yeah.
I saw that it started in 1983.
Yes.
I think during that time I was teaching computer-aided design.
Yeah, that's the tools that actually.
But unfortunately, that time the system is not that widely available. The computing system itself, the hardware, But I discussed the theory, the principle behind some of the computer-aided building design material, just to prepare my student when they graduate. Maybe they will have such system available. But anyway, I follow, quite, your asset management, intention, and I'm not sure whether, what sort of services that you provide in the first place. Are you just talking about people can hire or rent, your Archibus you call it, right?
Yeah, Archibus.
And then they collect their own data. They use your platform to help them in evaluation, analysis and evaluation and decision making. Or do you also involve in collecting data for your potential client, instead of they organize themselves, to collect data according to your, the platform's need, requirement. So the reason I'm asking this is I see the current trend. This data, all big data,
Yeah,
it's big data, and then it's going to cost a lot to the organization if they were to do that. You see, now we have cloud computing. We can store the data elsewhere, and we are not going to. It's a big problem having our computer to to store all the data. So we relate to this is, we call it professional services from people like you who can organize this the progressive collection of data, updating them, and then put in your own cloud, server or whatever, in a cloud, and the client are free to download and to utilize all the data at their own convenience, according to their own format. So you are not interfering, but you ensure there is data integrity and safety and And of course, they rent, they got to pay for the services, you know.
Yeah.
So do you do, which one you are doing? Are you having doing both? You what do you call that? You allow, you know, flexibility on the part of your client to organize data themselves, or you also could provide the services, because data is very complicated.
Yeah. Okay. Basically, when I start to know Archibus, we learn about the software first. So then we know how to customize the system, and then we provide a service to people. We explain how the system works and how can they suit to organization, and then they start to ask us, can I customize things? Okay, definitely, because we know how to customize things, okay, from the Archibus. Okay, sometimes the Archibus people also told us that we are the fastest in terms of creating a new module compared to their R&D teams, because because we learn from the client, because client demand, I want to do this, I want to do that, so definitely we create the system for the client. Meanwhile, the US people, the state, they don't like to customize things. You see the 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 Nokia, not Nokia, maybe the BlackBerry, so maybe Apple those days before, they use, even now they still use the old version because for them it works. Okay, so then when we see the client say, I have data, how can you collect for me? So then we start to establish our data team to collect the data for the client. Okay, then since that the client don't have the standard, so we create a standard structure of data for the client. And then because of the learning curve for us, because we start with the project, we need to collect faster. Because the moment they finish the system, they want to use it, they want to make sure the data is available.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's where we learn how to collect data faster compared to others. When we collect data, we know many source of data that they have, the client has. We evolve. We evolve from first we learn how to collect data, but now we can make faster way of to collect data. Sometimes we told the client, you don't need to pay me to collect data because your data is available. It's matter that you group it and then give me the Excel file. Because we did one for Post Malaysia, they asked us to collect 1,000 data of their property. So I said, if you pay me to collect your data, I'm very expensive. So because we are professional, But if you willing to listen to me, how can you collect the data faster by your team? You pay me maybe lower price as a consultant advising how to collect data. But there is a client said, I don't have time to ask my people to collect data. I want you to collect data. So we do that. Okay. So when we collect data, it's not just collect lighting. We draw the building drawing for them. We draw the drawing. We do the measurement sketches. But of course, our sketch cannot be used by a building surveyor. It's not accurate. So, but if they want to have an accurate sketch, we ask them, go and meet the building surveyor, let them draw for you and give me the drawing that I create digital in the system. That's why some of the client I advise that if you want to use my drawing for a evaluation for submission to Bomber, I recommend you to go with the building surveyor. So because they are going to stamp your size, stamp the finding, and not just get the data, but ask them to do the audit. So at least you get the drawing with the meaningful data of your condition assessment of your building, because the drawing is free for the building surveyor. The element of works lah, maknanya they need to sketch, and seeing that the client are paying to do the audit, of course I'm going to sketch properly lah. Maknanya I'm going to use a right measurement tools, kan? So then when I put my stamp there, I want to make sure my my reading are accurate, because I'm going to be they are going to ask me whether this size is accurate or not. That's where we always recommend, please use building surveyor to get the right data, because I don't want you to repeat the cost, unnecessarily.
There's also nothing wrong for you to employ, to hire building surveyors to do that
Yes.
part of job for your company.
Yes, we also have that joint apa ni lah maknanya. Tetapi I mean but sometimes the building surveyor don't see the value, okay, because their focus is different. Like they thought that I just want to collect the asset data, but sometimes I say, hey man, you can extend your service for the building performance, because the client doesn't know about it, The client just interested about, I want the data. So, okay, in the data, that's why Cik Zari, we do the works, data collection, we do the process improvement. Because why we say I do process improvement, Cik Zari? Because when I do a study of their processes, then I will recommend, sir, I saw this repeating activity in your FM, in your complaint management. Can I suggest that if we can drop certain element, then you can make things faster. Okay, then I put in the system and it become digital.
Yeah.
And
yes, it's important to see that you collect the right data, significant, because significant data. Otherwise, it costs money, to spend time to correct the wrong data. So, okay, another thing, just to share with you, there is development, in this data collection, use of drone, use of laser scanner, and they come with your own apps, to interact, between and then between the client and the server side, they have apps.
Yep.
Phone, they use the phone.
Yeah.
So you can go around collecting data with the phone, and it's automatically transferred to the server, and the apps is helping you to, to do the analysis and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of front end they have developed. I'm not sure whether your Archibus has that kind of system working along in future.
Okay. Actually, I'm doing the R&D with the Archibus US, and those days we even use creating the RFID for Hajj management for the Bin Laden group. Okay, so you want to manage the Hajj, the RFID, I think a watch. Okay, but we evolved that. I mean, at that time we don't even have the small watch like nowadays. When you want to run, you buy a small watch. Then those days we created that to give to the Hajj. Every Haji, we want to manage the crowd management by using Archibus. We want to manage Haji punya pengurusan Haji crowd management, the
tracking system.
Tracking and traffic actually. When there is a beep on your watch, and then you store it a light color, and you stop for 5 minutes. You stop.
Idle.
Stand. This in 2012, I think we are presented to Bin Laden. So this is how to manage the crowds. Of course, Bin Laden don't like me because I'm not the white. They like me if I'm a white. I say, oh, it's okay. I'm a Muslim, but I'm not the white man. So okay, this is the joke now. You think that you are not the white.
Anyway, you should have charged them higher, then you are more white.
Okay, relate to this drone, we do have the technology that being created. Remember that I need to draw the building. When I need to sketch, I need to draw in AutoCAD or in Revit and create a 3D model. In Archibus, I think 2 years ago, we are developing that you don't need to draw anymore. You just using a video, and then link the video image to the asset information.
You call it virtual reality.
Virtual reality, or they call it augmented reality.
Augmented reality.
Augmented reality.
Right.
This has been, this is under R&D, I think, on 2019 with the MIT team. Archibus have an MIT team. So they call it R&D for this because we want to reduce the cost on the data collection.
Exactly.
So we want to reduce it because the data collection is tremendously big, huge. I remember one of the polytechnic in Singapore want to hire me to collect their data. Intention is to created a digital twin. Okay. So to answer a last of your question, can we rent the system? Yes, definitely. You can rent the system. Those days, you need to buy the system.
Yeah.
Okay, but now, if you interested to use our condition assessment, you can rent the system.
Okay.
Pay to use, they call it. But again, before you want to rent it, you need to prepare like what my slide is lah. And otherwise, you start renting the system.
No, don't know where to start.
Yeah, don't know where to start. That's where we come in as a consult you. That's why we have this collaboration together with the UM to create this knowledge lah. Because sometimes when we have the audit activity, building surveying activity semua, we have the process we have a process. So sometimes I look at the process, I convert it to digital. So when convert to digital, sometimes orang dah terlupa dah tak payah pakai kertas. Bila tak payah pakai kertas, they don't put record anymore. So that also create a problem actually. There's no paper trail. Paper trail is important for us to keep, but not too much. Kan? Tapi when they get used with the digital, they don't even have a paper trail. Itu yang kena careful jugalah kan.
You see, the problem with our industry, the client industry, they are not, not looking forward for things beyond what they are familiar with, and they are always advised by the engineers who are in the same boat, the traditional type. So let's say I have decided, in my future building survey activities or works for future client, I only want to use, let's say, I want to provide drone survey services.
Yep.
Instead of manually, collecting information, I would like to use drone. Actually, I want to develop that and let them see, because I've done some gratis, free services to state, to monitor hill, to monitor, to find out landslide, slope problem. And then it is, at the end of the day, we present virtual augmented, there's a virtual reality. We bring the whole, and then we can also provide we can do quantification, we provide quantity of, the amount of slope affected, and then the amount of, erosion. We can calculate actually based on, the little,
the numbers.
And then, but the problem is that when we talk about, we bidding, when we put that, normally they don't look into it. They go back to the old tradition. So I hope the current government effort, in digital era or whatever, they should give priority to this. We must learn together. We must build the industry, the digital industry together. Like what European. I used to know that when I was in UK. The professional body, the government, the university, they are all promoting together any new things, But here it's totally different. So this is a setback, they will hamper your effort, all the other, professionals' effort, to bring this digital thing. So
actually, we already designed, we already created a system. The Archibus can work with the slope management. Okay, because we have a drawing, and when you want to go for a slope management, you start to put a total station, and then I mean, you create a house of the, I mean, those days when you require a total station, you need to house the total station, and then you have a prism. Then you need to continually monitor there is a movement in terms of how many millimeter ke, centimeter ke. The moment there is a movement and the system send SMS to the center, because we have a location of the asset. When there is a SMS from the total station, those days we thought total station, but now they got many. So immediately they become an alarm to a plus highway. Perhubungan Surabaya. Those days when I presented this case, then how I can bring the automation from the total station to Archibus and to become monitoring of the slope, and not just monitoring, become action. When there is a movement more than tolerant, then there will be a work order to the guy on site to go to the field. So I did this whole process.
Where did you do it at? In Malaysia or in US?
In Malaysia.
Malaysia. And how the take up, how the penetration of your technology? This is where we got to see the authority. The one they got to this is not talking about calling for tender. They must give the job to you, get it done, and showcase it. This is how it should happen. So if you were to go tender with the conservative or primitive one, you will never get.
Yeah.
You're not familiar.
We did another one with the water industry. With the water industry.
You can count.
We want to cache the water test. I designed a sensor linked with Archibus. A sensor, we call it automated meter reading. I can calculate the movement of the water, even the seep through, I can calculate because I take the design from Italy, the vein bottling system. Ada apa? Vein punya bottling system. Every sip, every drop count. So, then what I did, I integrate with Archibus together. That time I work with Schneider together, Schneider Electric. We send a signal. If the water stop, doesn't mean there's no water. Means something wrong with the site.
I think there's accounting for that.
Yeah. So I designed. They call it non-revenue water.
Non-revenue water.
Yeah.
Right.
This is what I integrate with Archibus in year 2000.
You have the system that can monitor objectively non-revenue.
We already for the objective non-revenue water, we work with the people from UK. They are the expert. So I work with them. They are the expert.
We know the breakage, old pipes. We need to replace that. Where there's problem.
So I use this for the assessment, for the audit. Then the audit, and then they immediately trigger the auditor, the inspector, go and inspect the site. I mean, this is a
lot in Penang. That problem.
So,
I think the whole country.
We did for Syarikat Berkalaya Selangor those days. I prove it for 10 sites. They give me 300,000. I give back the money because it's a proof of concept. I give back the money in 27 days.
Let's do it together in Penang. Let's go and talk to people in Penang.
Okay. I mean, because of the intention is actually my work is I want to. We talk about revenue. We identify. I even created the system audit for the bus stop, bus station. Identified the non-revenue bus stop. So I mean, this is the thing platform Archibus that I always created. Of course, a lot of activity, condition assessment activity, they need to be keep on continually make use the applications because otherwise we don't have data. Data is not used. Data is not good. The data is not strong because we don't have continuously monitoring.
Do you think that most of the new thing that being introduced not adopted because of lack of fund or knowledge?
Lack of gut. They got feeling. They scared.
Gut feeling.
Gut feeling. Scared.
Okay. They start.
They scared. I mean, fine. Because they thought it's a new thing. So, but nevertheless, we are passionate on doing this. Of course, we are keep on approaching. That's why we are together with UM, with Prof. Syarul, because we want to make sure that it's not just this system. We talk with UM. We get the grant for the UM to use the software. So Archibus give a grant to UM. I mean, UM is the first university that actually have this grant and integrate with the subject. We are not selling, but because the knowledge inside here is very huge knowledge. And
yeah, I always tell, I told my student most of the time, you can learn more from system, rather than classroom teaching, because the system, the programs, embedded within the system, it is foolproof.
yeah,
If you were to ask any, practitioners with experience, normally they end up using rule of thumb, and then when you have problem, you cannot trace where the problem is because they always use, their own experience.
yeah,
But if you use system, any what you call disparity, in the outcome, you can always go back and trace where the problem lies. So that's why I say it will go back to because normally the program writer will heavy reliance on textbook approach. The principle is transferred into the program. So I say it is very fortunate when in this era, current thinking, we are able to bring principles from textbook into. So it is worth learning now. Go back to books. People now thought that they don't learn much from books, but books actually written by, it's not easy to write a book. When you write, when someone write a book, it must be well written. You follow principle, especially in engineering. The calculation is elaborate. But when you don't follow books, you do your own manual way, you simplify it, and that's where, errors come, plus or minus things, and then also less efficient. So program help you to determine accurate, so your prediction. You ask any quantity surveyors, their performance in their prediction, accuracy. They based on their experience, doing this and that, but we are still talking about plus or minus 30% error, plus or minus 20%. This is serious in the current, digital era. Plus or minus 25, plus or minus 5% also considered is inefficient. It cannot be acceptable because there are repercussions, when you make you have that margin of error,
So I always I always talk with this engineer that always use a rule of thumb. I say why not I improve your rule of thumb? So your basis of rule of thumb need to be improvised time to time. So
the rule of thumb should come from the prediction by the system.
Yes. That's why I said the
accuracy. Then you develop the rule of thumb. I used to use manual, use manual, graphical manual, to help us in design. I think they are mostly are not accurate. But if I use software to do the designing, then I can see that it gives me very accurate answer. That's why when we have CABD, whatever you call it, our building getting leaner. Material getting more, you don't waste material,
So I learned something from China team, So they said that they are going to create material that easily can be break. So they no longer like last time. They say I create a material should be stronger for 30, 40, 70 years, So, but now they want to create a material is strong but easily can be break. So it is not a danger to the people like the bathtub, So, I mean, but anyway, to go back to this activity and the system that we are actually utilizing like for condition assessment is integrated with the asset, with the drawing, with the spaces. with the operation maintenance, with the preventive maintenance, they all integrated. And when I use this system to audit a project, I always get the result. The project being developed has extra square feet like 20% compared to the contract value. Because
another thing I
uh,
just like to ask, your system address multiple asset
yes,
at one go also?
yeah, multiple asset. I mean,
I want to know where the location, for
yeah,
example, later in our database,
yeah.
records of
So
buildings.
we link the asset. Okay, we have we call asset have two type. Whether you have furniture, we have equipment, and so government furniture MOF, equipment JKR. Okay. Why I say equipment, I don't call asset specific for ni equipment. Anything equipment mean have life cycle. Furniture don't have life cycle. When I say equipment, it can be mechanical, electrical, or whatever component, and there's a have life cycle. In the system, when you talk equipment, it means they have life cycle. So when you talk about furniture, the costing is about one price, no depreciation value. I mean, they have depreciation value, no operation value. Okay, that's how they relate with finance, kan? So when how we link with the location, we link with the space. Whether you have spaces inside or you have spaces outside. If I have a spaces outside, if a big, then I use GIS.
Yeah, geographic.
So I use Esri lah. I say I integrate with ArcInfo. Why should I create my own? I integrate with ArcInfo. Okay, but if they say I don't want to buy the ArcInfo because I don't have GIS expertise, fine. Why not we use AutoCAD? We use a site plan. So that's where we do a marking. We do a kilometer marker. We do because outside the building. We start to do even in UiTM. The goalpost, the football field have a marker, and every square feet have a cost. Kalau cakap rumput ni untuk ni rosak berapa, kita tahu berapa cost dia.
For landscaping,
For landscaping. Maknanya goalpost is the most expensive maintenance element. Corner.
You have a standard. You follow standard.
Right now benda tu tak di-establish as a standard. Right now, when you want to, if I have this standard, when I audit, when I do condition assessment, I do a building surveying activity. The moment I letak je masalah tu, then we have a standard cost they pick up. Wah, then the audit have a value in terms of, because when they say audit, then dia cakap rectified berapa? Oh, yang tu kena panggil orang lain. So,
I think this should be the current thinking and education for building surveyor actually.
Yeah.
The integratedness,
Yeah.
of his role, in managing asset or facilities.
Yeah.
So I think they got to be introduced this, and then it is a very complicated thing unless they have tools to help them. I think the computer aided is relevant in this case. They must be ready to learn computer aided subjects,
Subjects, yeah.
And also practical, with a project assignment, they can pick up the idea before they graduate. And then in the industry, they got to actually invest. The system, the company, they employ them or they start their own practice. There should be investment. And then I think that's where government should come and assist, especially these are all part of digital, they're promoting all this digital technology and this and that. They cannot say that. I hope there'll be grant and to support young people, a young person in this direction.
Yeah, those days
Go ahead.
we created a special together with the HRDF to create this the graduate that have also built up digital talent inside it. So we create that program also together with.
Is the government have this section, promoting this section within the system, and which department is doing that now? I mean, really seriously, investing, in this, so that it becomes showcase then when the government has started it, then the private sector can benefit, and then they can start, improving, the way we manage the national facilities, and then I think like just now I was in the environmental, Ministry of Environment. The pressure that comes from the United Nations, for countries, to manage to manage situation due to climate change. So they are forced into it, So I think the government in this case, managing asset, the government also should begin, to explore and willing to spend, and train young, people into that direction. It's the same like other, other issues, like I was telling you about climate. So our facilities and asset, I think, need a lot of input, especially tools.
Yeah.
I agree with your your effort.
Okay, I would like to continue my sharing.
Go ahead.
Thank you for
Sorry to
involving in
interrupt.
this. No problem. This is this is the intention. We want to have a two-way communication. Actually, maybe the student
Should.
shy to communicate. Anyway, thank you very much for
I think
joining
Sharo
us.
will not mind. Sharo will not mind. I know.
Okay, I will share you. I will share to the audience. Okay, what is the Archibus, how the system look like, how the systems. Okay, basically this is the Archibus full modules, they call it. There is a like I said just now, it's a real estate. We want to manage the real estate. This being used by the KWST. KWST are utilizing Archibus to manage their real estate and portfolio management, where we invested money. They are renting the building or they are leasing the building. They are managing the properties. And then this is where the capital project management. Just now I explained to you all about the capital project management. There is a component about the condition assessment. Before you construct the building or before you want to demolish the building, you need to do a condition assessment. That's where the condition assessment comes first. And then after you audit, after you do assessment, then you want to start to create the budget. Or maybe you already created the budget, but then you need to confirm whether the budget is enough. You do the condition assessment to confirm it, and then you update back your capital budgeting. So under the capital budgeting, when there is a managing fund, whether fund A, fund B, fund from United Nations, fund from this, so you can manage it through the system. And then when the budget is approved, then it becomes a project. That's where you start utilizing this to monitor the project, not just a construction project. For a university, the convocation also a project. Okay, so and anything request in the organization is a request for a project. Okay, but I want to request for improvement of my toilet in my floor, so it's a request. So when you request, then there will be a budget being allocated. So ini yang dipanggil budget challenge request lah. You send a request early of the year lah. If you have budget, we allocate to you. Okay, this is the meaning of the project of the capital project management. The whole activity in the organization on managing things in the organization. We call it capital project because every item is a project actually. So macam you take new project, so if of the module, kalau I nak explain, Cik Zahari ataupun Prof, satu module it takes me 3 hours to explain the whole flow. Itu pun laju in the mode lah. Tapi anyway, for student, you can access the system through the computer labs. We have installed in the computer labs. And then when you have a project, okay, dalam project ni you managing the construction ataupun project activities lah. Estimate baseline schedule, okay. This is the what is your estimate, your consultant estimate, and then your tender, and then the contractor internal estimate, consultant estimate, tender. Okay, you have 3 estimate. So You want to make sure estimate baseline apa semua kan, comparison. So dekat mana kan? Kat sinilah dia panggil dalam capital budgeting ni is all the element tu disatukan. Dan you tahu consultant budget banyak ni, tender internal budget banyak ni, tender budget banyak ni. So which one? So then you decide lah. So dekat sinilah bila dah decide, then barulah kita jadikan dia sebagai project. Then the activity, the moment you decide the budget, fund being transferred, fund in the system lah. Physically duit tak transfer lagi. Tapi in the system dekat approve for transfer. Okay, approve. Then approve. Issue any process. This is a traffic light element on the project console. Okay. So to monitor. Jadi project dah approve, budget tak transfer lagi. That's norm. Okay. Tapi tak ada record. We keep the record here. Okay. This is what the capital project management is the most expensive module in Archibus.
Okay. Ni nak interject sikit.
Okay.
It looks like that the whole system ni, the whole whatever I see on the screen, actually it represent the whole organization.
Yes.
Tapi dalam reality dia ada department, lepas tu dia ada head of the department section tu, tu jaga bahagian-bahagian yang belah kiri tu menu tu.
Yeah.
Tapi sekarang ni semua
tak apa. It's okay.
Dan apa jadi dengan structure of the organization tu nanti?
Okay.
Berapa orang yang akan terlibat nak bertanggungjawab pada semua tu?
Okay, sebenarnya because I log in as a master, I can see everything. I like the prime minister. I can see. Oh, you are not utilizing the budget.
The boss.
I log in as a master system. Okay, I can see. But otherwise, if you are managing space, you only can see your space here. The rest is it's not there. For example, background. I can maybe I show you how it works. Okay? Let's say I log in as a maintenance person. I log in as a maintenance person.
I think that's important to share.
Because this system is based on username and roles, based on your roles. Okay. Kalau you jangan sibuk hal orang. Macam tu.
But you still can interact.
You still can communicate. You still can I have your data? Yes, can share. Cumanya dia akan reduce the focus lah. Dia
virtual file lah. Dia ada virtual file everywhere.
Dia improve the focus and then tapi it's been taking care actually. Walaupun dia didn't focus. Okay, let's see. I want to log out. Okay, macam ni. Nampak this is where who am I? Okay. Okay, this is my name. My role is activity license, and so now I log out. I want to log in as a cat person.
Okay.
Kena ingat banyak password. Just now I mentioned about the password, and because each of person have different password.
Like,
so because I want to read that
kunci office dia.
I need to log in as a different password lah. Okay. You see? So you are just managing space maintenance in related to the space survey, maintenance pun tak banyak update labor charge, maintenance console ataupun space inventory you can managing sama kan, occupancy. So and then corrective occupancy you can locate the staff, locate employee macamnya. Corrective maintenance maybe you work is updating information saja.
And you have the date tracking too. When does it?
We also also know when you delete things.
Can we recover the
misconduct?
Recover the one that we deleted. Maybe it is important to get it back.
We can recover from our backup, but then we can recover from the misconduct. So you make sure you go and find it back. Otherwise, you be kicked out from the organization. So anyway, we have a proof. Like for example, I explained to you about the project management. In managing the project, we tend to communicate, okay? Communicate to each other. And we keep a communication log in our notebook, in our diary, in whatever books that we have lah. But we just keep whatever that been told. But like WhatsApp, and but we don't keep it properly and cannot be used in the court.
Oh.
And so in system kita check communication log, we follow the process where if you want to use it to the court for the arbitration, for evidence, we already have it inside the system. But when you communicate, you log in, I'm communicating with this guy, what I'm telling you right there. And then what are the transpired you are submitting, you just note there inside the system while you are managing the project. It's stimulating like when you have your notebook, you write there, oh, this guy talk about this, and then your book become evident if they find your books. If you remember where you keep your books, because the project is already 3 years ago, closed already, you know. So we keep that log and become, you can easily trace back and become evident. And
for any dispute, for mediation.
If there is dispute and litigation, we have it. But of course, we need to follow the process. Sometimes we already have it. When I ask them, do you use the log? Oh, we forgot. Ayo, macam mana you want to make use this litigation? And so these are the system have it.
I think this is what something new, you know, for the industry to be aware, you know. In professional job, you know, you have dispute all the time, you know.
Oh yes.
During project, long after project, you know, and accusation and payment matters, claim, you know, counter claim. So I think these are all important, you know, that can help reduce the workload on lawyer and claim lawyer and court, you know. I think this is what we should include, you know, when trying to understand, you know, the advantage of the system. You know,
okay,
this kind of system.
I'm
not promoting your.
No. Because this is what is the best practice that we are actually putting to the system.
Best practice.
The best practice. Another thing is that we don't quarrel with the system. We don't quarrel with the system. I mean, what I mean is don't quarrel is that in the meeting, normally we spend time listening to the reason. Okay, by having the system, we don't need to explain the reason. Without the needing to answer how to overcome the delay, not to ask why you delay, because the system is actually being created to overcome how to overcome the delay, not to listen to why you delay. So this is the beauty of the best practice that we always created lah. We don't want to listen why you delay.
AI, you know, artificial intelligence embedded in the system.
No, it's not. The element is there.
What rule that can?
Remember that we set your. I mean, you promised to submit a drawing. Okay, you set the system Monday next week. 8 of May, I'm promised to submit the drawing. When I submit the drawing, I'll fulfill 100% format. Okay. Monday in the meeting, you are not submitting drawing. So I don't want to know why you're not submitting. So the system said, when is the next date that you want to submit? Okay. Okay. So you put a new date lah. So later on, you deal with the penalty lah.
You take care of your penalty.
Take care of penalty because the system already calculate this is the penalty of the delay submission. So you deal outside, you know, when you will say, hey, boss, I want to merayu for my penalty. Do outside the system. The system already marked there is a penalty for 20 ringgit for you delay submission. So how you want to pay, you talk with the finance. This is what I said, how we tackle things in the system.
Okay, that's good. Yes.
So this is the, I mean, we don't
realistic.
Realistic. This is the thing. So we don't talk about, oh boss, sorry lah boss, I sakit perut Monday. No, I want to. You just put the date when you want to submit back. Simple. No need to put reason because I don't want to answer. I don't want to know your problem. Paul, just submit je. We okay with your problem. So we are okay with your
As
reason.
far as the rules, you set the rule. Huh?
You promise, not me promise. You promise. You promise to submit. So I just the system said you promise to submit. Okay, it's okay. We also have an extension of time. So that's why I said, oh boss, I cannot lah. Okay, then you click the button EOT, put a next date submission. So then send us.
Anticipating delay. Yeah.
So we taking care.
Adjustment.
I mean, we are not cruel. We are not cruel because we know that in the contract there is a EOT 1, EOT 2, but definitely no EOT 3, man.
What it means? What it means that the system allow intervention lah.
Yeah, system allowed to. I mean, we being created the system
intervene. You to intervene also.
Yes. So
you set the rule.
Kita set the rule. So the system is there. You set the rule. How you want to use. Our role here is to explain how to set, how to play with the games. You know. So sometimes we want to customize thing. I said no need lah, because why should I want to customize thing where you doesn't know whether this customization, for example, you want to buy a Proton car, before you know the performance, you customize it. So first use it first lah. Then later on you want to add tire more bigger ke, then you know lah, barulah betul.
We call it fine tuning.
So that's why we are promoting. Please don't customize first. Use as it is. Of course, use as it is. You got a lot of complaints. So I don't like your software. I don't like your color. That's fine. You know, that's fine. Fine with me. So as long that did this process been improved in your organization, yeah, no question asked, improve. But I don't like the color. Then I repair the color.
How long? For all average, how long it takes one to be able to, you know, smoothly use the system in your Archibus? For most module how long it may take?
I can say one module lah. I don't want for all module it can take years.
No, to learn, to pick up.
Actually, it's very fast. Very fast. 30 days to maximum.
Oh, okay.
And
you provide coaching also lah?
Yes, definitely we provide coaching. Normally we provide it before we hand over. Okay, let's see how the condition assessment system works in the system, how it look like. So then
you have the metric, you use the metric as well.
Yep.
And it's part of the system.
Part of the system. But the
rating,
the figure is your figure, not my figure.
The rating, I mean.
The rating, yeah. So actually in the Archibus condition assessment, they're available on each module. So in the space management, they also have a condition assessment.
Every module got.
Everybody have an assessment
BCA
element for function of the BCA, and like they want to do a space audit, okay? Ni manage a space survey, and so the beauty is that I mean when you talk about of course I don't have any specific item here. Let's see. Sorry, ambil dulu performance. Okay, when you talk about the macam topic of misalnya it's about building performance kan. Okay. So where is this report came through? Okay, this talk about usable area, rentable area, gross area, and so you got the floor efficiency rate, you know, and then you can see the report of the efficiency rate U versus R versus U, you know. So this data is created from the processes that happening from the other aspect of the system, like efficiency rate, you know, maybe came from the numbers of complaint, numbers of numbers of people entering to the floor, numbers of people utilizing, numbers of people right attendance that entering to the floor, people that touch the card access. So we collect that, you know. So like we integrate with card access system because we want to know how many go to that floor, because the punch sheet dekat card access dekat dalam betul we collect, we integrate with card access, then we can have this building performance punya analysis reports lah. Okay. Second is that you know that last week I talked about a lot, 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago I talked about the data yang dibazirkan, data that been wasted. This data lah, you write your attendance dekat at the lobby entrance of the building, kan? So nobody pick up the data to do this calculation for building performance. So how can they do a building performance without data? So of course, start I based on my data, the people entering to the building. Later on, I improve. Okay, what are the age of the people? You know, so later on, they improve. Then I get the data of the building performance keep on improving. Maybe the youngest generation people entering to the building many compared to the oldest people. So maybe I create a good section for them. You know, so this is the how we use this building performance matrix ni untuk kita provide the better service for our building. And so, but this data is being wasted or they are not collecting properly because they collect IC number. I can use the IC number to calculate type of age, age people entering to the building. Kan? The location, I mean, the people came from where? Maybe, you know, from Penang lah, from Terengganu. It's not accurate, but there's a data for that. Where you collect this from the IC number?
From the My Sejahtera.
My Sejahtera. Actually, what we created the My Sejahtera. Actually, we created a QR code for a building. QR code before My Sejahtera. We are created QR code for each of the room. If I can integrate this QR code to My Sejahtera, when they scan the QR code, it's actually they are entering to that particular building and particular floor and particular room. Then, if I want to do a contact tracing, you can see the super of contact tracing that I can have because I did this for one of the government buildings. So this is audit, this is a building performance, not just a building, tapi kita datang daripada from the people that entering. So this is one of the ni lah, one of the element of related to building performance, macam mana this figure came. Okay, this space. Space ada banyak. Yeah. Let's go on the space console. Okay. When you want to do audit early of in the morning, I explain how can you assess the information of your audit activity. You require a drawing. You require a floor plan. Okay. So if you don't have, maybe you prepare it first. But if I have it in the system like this, I want to assess it. So definitely I want to see the drawing. This is the CAD function inside the Archibus. I want to see the drawing. See, I can see the drawing. Okay, and I also know what is who inside this building, who inside this room, you know, and the department that been assigned. I can change the color, you know. And I want to see gross area. I want to see change color, let's say color division, and then want to color. So then they change the colors. I mean the colors according to the what are the highlight that you want. And room not survey. If you already survey, so we can identify which are the room is not being surveyed. so you don't need to go around to look which are the room. So this is one of the element of the function when you want to do a building surveying. Yeah, and then kalau ni another, let's see another, like in morning I thought that I already have this system that this is 2D drawing. Okay, how about now I want to see this building pula, and that this building have a 3D, kan? So how the building look like kalau dia ada 3D, kan? So the system called the 3D drawing, and this system running online. Actually, this is the 3D, kan? So you can start to, I mean, make use the BIM. Tadi CAD kan? Tadi kita cerita pasal CAD, CAAD kan? Computer Aided Safety Management. Ni nama dia Computer Aided Safety Management. So now I have a 3D kan? So I can also works, nak tengok asset kat mana, lampu kat mana, HVAC dia macam mana in this particular floor. So that's where I use the 3D model for facility management. So whenever they construct the building with the 3D model, I said, thank you very much. Can I have the drawing? Can I have the model? Then I can bring it to the system. So kita tak buang lah 3D model tu after construction. So we can start to use it for operation maintenance, kan? Ini sebab saya duduk dekat dalam space console. If I sit this information in the asset console, I can click the drawing, I can click the equipment, and then kita boleh issue a work order. Issue a work order. So okay, because kita punya fokus kat sini is building performance, space audit, not to focus on maintenance, tak apalah. Tapi whatever it is, when you do a performing, you conduct a building audit ataupun building assessment atau condition assessment, the system integrate with in this particular room how many work order been issued already. So dia dekat dalam maintenance ni dia akan di history of the space tu punya work order yang telah di-issue pada dia. Sebab kita nak buat building performance, kita nak buat audit, kita nak tahu bilik ni selalu bagi problem ke, dalam bilik ni problem dia apa. Kita tengok secara generally kita tengok dia mata kasar, kita nampak oh bilik ni okey tapi kita tengok the history of the room ataupun history of the floor yang kita pergi tengok, oh memang banyak rosak, kita banyak spend time repair pun sebenarnya, tapi bila you datang ni kita okey. So this is the element that missing sometimes. Kalau kita audit physically tapi kita tak tengok what happened to this building before. Ada history of the work order tak untuk bilik ni? This is the where we can assess dekat dalam sini. When talk about the maintenance manager ni, dia boleh access information dekat belakang, dan juga dia integrate dengan asset. Jadi itu yang kita panggil dia punya apa? Dia panggil integration antara setiap modul ni, kan? Okay, student, ada any questions tak? Saya cakap sorang-sorang ni tak sure.
No, this is a good teaching tool actually.
Yeah.
It's a good teaching tool too, you know.
Yeah.
So, I should see now, you know, this already the development is tremendous compared to during my time, you know. The technology, I mean, the input, you know, of technology into this is following the building performance research model. I have a chance to be with this group, you know, BPRU, Tom Marcus, Tom Maver, you know, it's Strathclyde University. They are the pioneer in this actually. But during that time, all their thinking is on, you know, what a main computer, big computer, you know. But now it can go onto our, you know, through our handphone, through, you know, laptop, you know. I think university semua kena ada ni as a teaching tool too. Make it as a teaching tool, and their what you call project should be the campus. Yeah. That's where you have all these facilities. You can really utilize the whole system.
But I'm sorry because my notebooks just now I already prepared for the faculty alam bina punya 3D model that we created because we want to use it for teaching punya element, kan?
No, you punya system overall boleh manage the whole campus.
Yeah.
So if they were using this, then they can introduce it to staff and students. You know, they develop their, you know, their understanding, you know, and then I think the graduate will be more prepared to see that such thing exists, you know, can be done outside, you know, university, you know, when they work in government and so on. So I think it should start in the university, you know, as a teaching tool, you know.
Sebab tu what Archibus offer to university like UM, they offer this software as a dia grant. Archibus giving this grant because UM willing to abandon some knowledge of the bigger element knowledge ni untuk dia jadikan sebagai teaching tools dia for the student to explain to understand about the tools that available and the technology available, and then how it can help them to make things understand lah. Contohnya macam yang I tunjukkan ni
And
is
then
the
this one
asset.
kena start daripada first year, start guna the tool and identify lah yang how to build them up, you know.
Yeah.
The understanding. By the time they graduate, they have reached the maximum punya. They can be architect, they can be engineer, they can be. I mean, bring them together.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a school for architect. I mean, like hospital for architect lah, I can say. Kalau you tengok the way they train doctors kan, you know, they start going to sampai houseman sampai then they become a full-fledged doctor. Tapi the training daripada masa first year, second year, third year daripada dah faham hospital punya facilities and treatment and so on. So yang ni same thing. We can hospital for building surveyors. Use campus as a hospital for building surveyors.
Yeah.
And then with this tool is possible.
Yep.
So first year, they must start guna this tool.
Okay.
This technology lah, I mean.
Contohnya Cik Zari, this prof dan student, this is where when I have the system yang ada integrated data, this is the example the data in the any organization actually. But in the piecemeal, the chemical, the lab ada dia punya data, equipment ada, and then the team kat bawah ni dia ada senaraikan team, who are the team and the custodian and the space where they are. Okay, and they show also this is the space, this is the asset, and then this is the information. It's not just an image, this is the information about the asset. If you want to go further, because they bring all in the organization together. So kalau I nak fahamkan pasal student berkenaan audit, kenapa saya nak cari asset? Okay, what are the asset information that you required? So this one screen, okay, you need to have a picture, you need to have specification. Then kalau I nak explain why this specification exists, because waktu kita nak buat construction, dia dah panggil tender spec, kan? So dekat mana dia nak pasang? Where is to be located? Dekat sini. Siapa yang going to use it for operation? This guy are going to use it for operation. And then what are the price of this asset? Dia dah tertulis dekat sini. The purchase price. Then they understand what is the purchase price. Cost to replace. What is the cost of to replace? You ingat cost to replace buang aja. Dia kena bayar dekat tempat pembuangan sampah RM500 misalnya. What is the depreciation value? What are the criticality of this asset? Number one, this is the element of how this information come together, kan? Barulah bila dia buat audit, dia akan really looking on the bigger spectrum lah. Kalau tak, dia tengok tu je. Dia
Cik
tak.
Sha'rainon.
Ya. Satu lah
There's a question from USM, I think.
Oh, okay.
Dekat chatbox tu. Dia kata sini, based on your experience and opinion in teaching, what is the best hours duration to train the students if this software will be part of the curriculum or syllabus?
Okay, Prof, kita dah buat kerjasama ni dengan UM kan. Macam hari tu we want to teach about how can they use this space management. First kan, I mean we need to step by step kan. Macam Cik Zari mention lah tadi kan. Tahun 1 masuk dia belajar apa dulu kan. So what we test with the building surveying dulu, kita start with the measured drawing subject kan, Prof measured drawing subject, I think dengan Dr. Shu rasanya kan. Actually Dr. Shu teach about measured drawing, but we use these tools abandoned dalam measured drawing punya subject kan. Dan kita ajar dekat dia kenapa measured drawing important. Jadi kita tengok dekat dia the result of measured drawing adalah ni. Tapi kita tak ada spend panjang pun. Kita spend dia dalam project item. Maknanya when we talk about train the student software being part of the curriculum, we create a project macam dalam 3 bulan, 1 semester, short sem ataupun setengah semester ada project, dan they need to translate their project into the software. Baru dia belajar. Kalau kita cakap kita ajar dia software, dia akan lupa. Tapi kalau kita train dia dalam projek, dia akan do wonders. Maksud saya do wonders ni, they will explore the software. Macam hari tu kita buat, dia ada bagi hadiah siapa yang presented the best element of usage of the software, they got some prize kan. Jadi student tu explore the system by themselves using YouTube without even trained by me. Dia explore dan dia perform wonders. Maknanya dia punya result tu tak seperti yang kita ajar. Kita tak ajar pun dia, tapi kita suruh dia explore. Why kita explain macam ni lah, how to use the system, what are the system benefit, how then, and then there is a head file here. Head file ni tak faham, dia ada head file, klik head file ni, then they explain A to Z, the student learn. Tapi kita explain juga macam mana nak pakai kan, tapi tak adalah banyak masa. Bagi specific hours tu saya tak ada, tapi we can discuss lah macam mana kita nak tailor-made the element dengan subjek. Macam tu kita buat measured survey, measured drawing. Ni kita buat pula untuk condition assessment kan. Jadi kat sini ada tools condition assessment. Maybe after this there will be assignment to use the system or to identify how can the system give a benefit for them to conduct building surveying ataupun space condition assessment punya activity. Macam itulah kita pakai. Bukanlah kita berharap dia akan keluar pakai software ni sahaja, tapi knowledge dia ada kan. Jadi dia tahu tools ni available. Ni kalau dia tak faham, dia ada head files a lot kan. Dia tak faham berkenaan capital project. Oh, saya tak share sikit
Dan at the same time kan, they can use real data, the campus facilities tu. Kata dia study on lecture hall saja, lecture building, ada office building, semua ada teaching.
This is the macam kalau saya nak ajar subjek condition assessment kan, apa yang saya explain tadi tu dia ada dekat dalam head file lah, tapi somebody need to explain it lah kan. So that's where I come in and to explain how the system works lah kan. This is the best practice actually. What they put here is actually the best practice. Kita kena create a project properly, organize the background data, creating the macam saya cakap, creating the assessment item. Because that is a subject in the condition assessment ataupun building surveying punya, macam mana nak buat rating punya pointing system apa semua kan. Tetapi kita demonstrate it dalam pakai sistem, then dia orang akan cepat faham.
By right, this software should be like macam pecahkan dia dalam projek-projek yang dekat studio ke apa kan, macam tu ya.
Yes, exactly. You can start with whether you want to teach them about why you want to do space inventory. Maybe the architect punya subject space inventory ini dia teach, but why this important to others, and
for the architecture students kan, kalau kita beri into awareness, because they are not going to focus on this building condition. They are designer, so but they are aware.
They're aware the important data.
They know who to consult later if they want to, get advice, on building control on performance building
It can be macam subjek wajib first year to faham berkenaan function of the information data that will be they are going to utilize ataupun they are going to see this data throughout the course dia. Maknanya dalam masa 5 tahun atau 3 tahun dia berada dalam architecture school ke, building surveying school ke, these are the data yang akan sering melintas di depan mata. Kenapa data ni melintas kan? Macam asset, the concept of asset. Itu cerita pasal concept of asset, understanding the assets kan. And then dia cerita berkenaan the role, the chain of custody of the asset. What we try to do is that we bring the process manual inside the system and we explain this process exists in the real world. Cumanya dalam secara tak langsung lah.
And also it is in a multidisciplinary platform.
Yes.
This is very important. Building is as a system. They're interrelated. The services system, the structural system, and then performance. Semua tu nak kena tengok sekali tu. Jadi it's good to build up the understanding of issue in buildings to young student ni daripada mula.
So macam tadi Prof
So,
berkenaan energi did I answer the USM punya question tak ataupun if you want to further discuss you can get the number from Prof ataupun
Nuzaihan. USM HBP is this discussion is not new because HBP believe in this integrated interdisciplinary punya platform. It's very easy to implement because we are school system. We have school system. Everybody, under one roof, led by a dean. So senang. And then chairman of program was more are together. We can always come to agreement to share this common platform. Asas teaching. I think we must go, especially ni digital era. Zaman kita dulu a bit difficult to bring together semua tu. Walaupun hasrat tu. Actually school of Strathclyde
Strathclyde is
architecture. Yeah, they implement this in the School of Architecture and Building Science and Planning.
Strathclyde University kan?
I was there twice.
Strathclyde University is one of the university that involved in the research to produce the system.
Yes. They develop a lot also in this area.
Maknanya dia dalam 6 universiti yang bersama membangunkan Archibus, they one of them.
Yeah. And then USM HBP is the development of the School of Housing, Building and Planning in Penang. Got a lot of input from Strathclyde. They are the one, Tom Marcus, Tom Maver, apa semua tu. They are the one who developed the program actually. They give input banyak. And they came to teach also.
Okay, kita
dah surveyor Nuzaihan kalau kita nak refer kepada soalan you tadi, kalau saya nak jawab secara praktisnya di UM dan mungkin di universiti lain lah kita macam Cik Sha'rainon mention tadi, pada permulaan ataupun asas penggunaan Archibus ni memang kita pecahkan dia kepada beberapa projek di dalam subjek-subjek yang berkenaan di UM lah. Tetapi saya juga tertarik kalau program ini dapat dijalankan secara satu computer aided in building surveying secara khusus. Kalau you remember tadi Encik Sha'rainon ada refer kepada quadrant Archibus itu sendiri. Kalau you refer kepada quadrant Archibus tadi tu, komponen yang ada dalam quadrant tu sebenarnya boleh merangkumi satu subjek by itself. So kalau kita nak tengok subjek itu sebagai satu 3 kredit subjek dan sekiranya ia boleh dijalankan sebagai satu subjek di bawah khusus BS under computer aided, dan saya rasa itu pun boleh dipraktikkan sebagai satu model lah ataupun sebagai satu modul dalam building surveying program. So saya punya jawapan tu maksudnya ada dua lah. Kalau kata dalam praktis kita orang, because kita tak boleh nak buat curriculum review tu secara immediate. Jadi kita embed sistem tu dalam subjek-subjek tertentu. Dan saya rasa dalam masa terdekat bila sampai waktu untuk curriculum review, kita akan sediakan satu computer aided building surveying program ataupun modul tu secara khusus lah untuk di-embedkan 4 quadrant dalam Archibus tadi tu lah. So mungkin itu sebagai tambahan lah.
Sangat jelas.
Ini
Ya, sangat jelas.
Alright. Terima kasih.
Very helpful sharing session ni sebab saya pernah tahu juga pasal Archibus ni dalam building management, but we never explore it in teaching. Semua teaching tu macam kita tahu software tapi kita tak pernah explore thoroughly dengan students. So I think that is time for us to like adapt something lah selain daripada software lain lah untuk BS student, because I can see this is kalau tak ada fundamental ni memang susah juga lah kalau dia nak practice dekat luar. So it's very good. Yeah. Thank you for the sharing. Thank you.
Maksudnya kita pernah ada sharing session kan dengan Puan Zaihan maksudnya.
Ya. Yeah.
Tapi waktu tu kita punya sharing is about the condition assessment dia, workplace kan, workplace. Sebab Archibus ni banyak modul, sebab tu saya boleh buat session tu on specific subject. Macam ni building surveying kan, building performance kan. Macam I think kita buat dengan Petronas hari tu, kita ceritakan pasal the data that been wasted. About facility data lah, I tunjukkan mana data tu yang kita bazirkan tapi kita tak pick up untuk proses. Ataupun kita dah pick up tapi kita tak further proses. Dah further proses, tak ada orang buat analisis. Dah analisis, tak ada orang apply. Jadi this is the data that we wasted lah kita cakap.
Okay, saya Rizwan. Saya nak tanya perbezaan antara BIM dengan Archibus. Apa perbezaan yang nyata lah?
Okay, saya jawab Prof.
Sila.
Bila kita cakap BIM ni is a building information model, and Archibus ni is a platform for the information of the building. Macam tadi kita, kalau saya ikut bahasa Malaysia, kenapa kita nak buat BIM? Bina ikut model. Senang je. Why you want to do BIM? Bina ikut model. Jangan bina ikut drawing dah, bina ikut model. Maknanya 3D models lah. The model can be drawing, can be 2D or can be 3D. Bina ikut model. Okay. Tapi apa perbezaan dia? BIM dia akan pakai software seperti Revit ataupun Autodesk membangunkan Revit untuk membangunkan BIM. Tapi kalau kita tengok definasi BIM pula, AutoCAD tu pun BIM juga. Maknanya dia building information model dalam bentuk 2 dimensi. Dalam bentuk 3 dimensi kalau kita pakai Revit software. Tapi kalau pakai software lain, contohnya macam Bentley, dia pun ada 2D and 3D. Archibus utilizing hasil daripada pelaksanaan membuat BIM. Sama ada dia buat BIM 2D atau dia buat BIM 3D. Maknanya drawing tadi tu lukisan yang dihasilkan, drawing yang dihasilkan dalam bentuk 2 dimensi atau 3 dimensi. Kalau kita pakai Revit, kita akan make use this and then kita akan linkkan dengan information yang sewaktu dalam construction, in the construction period, information tu scattered, it's not consolidated, and extend the usage of this information for managing facility, bukan for facility management aja, for managing facility. Maknanya the owner, the client, the owner of the building, the operator, the contractor and the normal user dia boleh pakai. Jadi Archibus adalah platform tu. Archibus dia not just a software tapi dia platform. Dia panggil dia platform. Antara software-software yang mengenalkan diri dia sebagai platform, contohnya macam Microsoft. Microsoft dulu dia panggil software spreadsheet, tapi selepas dia dah evolve, dia panggil dia platform for office. Office platform. Maknanya dia ada Excel, dia ada spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet lah. Dia ada PowerPoint untuk buat presentation, dia ada database. Jadi dia Microsoft is a platform. Archibus ni dulu dia dikenali sebagai platform untuk manage facility. Dia panggil ni. Jadi dia bukan just a software, dia a platform. Sebab tu bila platform dia boleh integrated dengan others. Jadi perbezaan dia tu, BIM waktu kita selalunya digunakan untuk waktu design sehingga construction. Selepas tu hasilnya tu Archibus ambil. Masukkan dalam dia.
It become input data for
input to the managing facility,
to the
Archibus.
Yeah.
Jadi nak kata Archibus is a software, BIM is not a software. Sebab Archibus is software, BIM bukan software. BIM is terminologi, tapi software yang digunakan untuk buat BIM adalah AutoCAD dan Revit. Okey. Okey ke Dr. Muhammad dia tanya?
Okey, cuma saya nak tanya dari segi compatible, dia compatible data daripada BIM nak masuk ke dalam Archibus. Contoh kalau kita dalam features dalam Archibus tu, kita mungkin sebagai maklumat tambahan, for example untuk dia punya spec dia ataupun dia punya floor plan, apa yang kita telah buat pada peringkat BIM tadi.
Okey. Apabila kita cakap Archibus, dia integrated dengan software yang dihasilkan oleh Autodesk family. Archibus dia work together with Autodesk family sebab Autodesk is the owner of the AutoCAD dan juga Revit. Maknanya dia ada the company name kan. Jadi memang kita boleh integrate vice versa, maknanya integrate ke dalam dan integrate ke luar. Okey. Bila kita cakap integrate ni maksudnya apabila mereka menggunakan software Autodesk dan Revit dengan kaedah yang betul, data yang ada di sana senang kita nak bawa masuk. Tetapi apabila dia tidak utilize structure data dekat dalam Revit ataupun AutoCAD, dia tak bina data tu tak senang nak dibawa masuk atau data tu tak ada. Structure Archibus dan structure Revit dia compatible, dia bukan panggil compatible, dia memang integrated. Dia integrated. Kalau compatible maknanya hanya certain produk aja yang ada certain modul yang compatible. Tapi Archibus dia integrated. Jadi bila kita bina data dekat dalam Revit, dalam BIM lah kan. Contohnya kita bina data panjang kali lebar kali tinggi dengan specification. Lepas tu kita nak bina lagi data lagi. Data yang kita dapat apabila kita ada pengukuran tu adalah data saiz ruang. Dan kita bina lagi nama bilik, nombor bilik dalam Revit. Kan? Jadi bila saya ambil Revit model tu, saya nak panggil data tu, saya just importkan software tu dalam Archibus. Program tu dinama publishing. Dan kita publish dalam Archibus dan automatically model yang tadi yang saya tunjukkan tu kita boleh buka tanpa gunakan Revit, tetapi kita boleh buka dengan menggunakan Archibus, tetapi tidaklah macam kita buat Revit sebab dia Revit ni is design tool kan. Archibus dia bukan design tool. Dia nak pakai maklumat yang telah kita hasilkan tu. Jadi dia akan masukkan dan kita start untuk pakai. Jadi kita tak repeat aktiviti lah, maknanya telah dibuat waktu Revit, kita ambil dan kita jadikan sebagai data dekat dalam Archibus. Tetapi sekiranya data tu tidak dibina dalam Revit, kita bawa masuk saja lukisan kosong. Kan? Jadi apa yang saya patut buat adalah saya kena bina balik data tu dekat dalam Archibus. Barulah model tu meaningful. Kalau tidak, kosong lah, model kosong lah. Kita tak tahu, ni pintu. Pintu ni saiz dia okeylah kita ada, tapi jenis apa? Jenis apa? Material daripada mana? Siapa yang supply? Okey. Itu satu. Yang kedua tadi, Zahari ada cerita pasal data tak semestinya semua kita pakai. Tak semestinya semua kita tak pakai, kan? Jadi dekat sini pun ada sesuatu yang benda yang kita pun belajar daripada proses buat projek ni. Kadang-kadang kita buat too much data, sebenarnya tak perlu semua pun untuk FM, kan? Jadi dekat sinilah kita boleh tapis data mana yang diperlukan oleh FM. Ada research yang telah dilaksanakan. Rasanya kat UM pun ada research ni, data that needed during BIM and available for FM. Tu memang research, rasanya ada research grant buat benda tu. Data that needed for FM. Kalau you tanya orang FM, dia tak boleh jawab. Sebab dia memang nature dia hidup dengan tak ada data. Jadi selama ni dia ambil bangunan dia, data ada drawing? Tak ada. Habis macam mana? Kita hidup dengan seadanya lah. Jadi if you asking about orang FM, what data that you require, dia tak akan boleh bagi requirement. Because the experience, kita tak tahu. Bukanlah dia tak tahu sebab dia punya experience, dia ambil bangunan tu tak ada data. Dia terpaksa bina data, tapi dia bagi piecemeal lah. Dan kita kena guide dia. Contohnya, do you require data ruang? Dalam Revit ada data ruang. Do you require data ruang? Tak perlu. Tapi kalau you punya kontrak ni based on ruang macam mana? Per square feet. Kenapa you tak perlu data ruang? Adakah kontrak you ni tepat dengan ruang yang you dapat ke tak? Dan dia akan start to spark dia punya mind. Yalah, kita perlu data ruang sebab nak tengok balik betul tak kita punya kontrak ni ikut ruang yang kita kerjakan. Kebanyakannya ramai yang telah dikilafkan beruangan yang salah. Padahal dia beli chemical tak cukup-cukup sebab square feet dia salah. Sebab dia calculate based on kontrak tu cakap ni kita buat 5 juta kaki persegi. Bila saya masuk, saya study balik sebenarnya dia 7 juta. So, no wonder lah dia beli chemical tak cukup. Dia nak bersihkan ruang kan, contohnya kan. No wonder lah dia assign the team, technical team ataupun cleaning team dia, letih orang-orang ni tak cukup nak habiskan masa sebab juga besar ni pak ruang ni. Jadi this is the information yang dalam space, tapi sebab orang FM cakap perlu ke? Tak perlu kot. Dah tahu saiz besar cukup lah. Tapi bila dia nak buat assignment of the dia nak buat calculation pergerakan cleaner misalnya. Saya ada involved dengan satu research dekat Turki. Pergerakan cleaner tu kita simulatekan betul ke dia boleh cleankan 10 toilet dalam satu hari. Kita simulatekan dekat Archibus pergerakan dia. This is what, sebenarnya tak cukup 10 orang cleaner, tak cukup 1 orang cleaner, dan baru kita tahu the meaningful of the contract itu sebenarnya real ke tak real. I mean this is itulah Revit punya kebaikannya sebab data tu ada, I can make use. Kalau tak saya buat balik. Boleh. Saya buat pakai AutoCAD, saya lukis balik. Polyline balik, okay. Dekat sinilah subjek AutoCAD, subjek lukisan bangunan, subjek melukis lukisan harus diperhalusi balik. Sama ada dia buat lukisan AutoCAD tu bercantum line dia ke tidak. Jadi bila line tak bercantum dalam AutoCAD, the image meaningful, dia tak boleh buat analisis sebab line tak bercantum. Bila dia buat bilik tu, tak cantum. Kan? Jadi waktu saya belajar manual buat lukisan dulu, tak pakai AutoCAD, kita make sure pencil tu line dia betul-betul bercantum, jangan cross. Kalau tidak lecturer bulatkan, ni potong markah satu. Kan? Tapi bila kita alihkan kepada AutoCAD, subjek ni tidak ditekankan. Dekat situlah the quality of the drawing for the draftsman cincai. This is the element yang banyak fundamental dulu yang kita ada tapi tak dibawa through betul-betul kan. Okay.
Ni last question. Mungkin Jarul. Last question Jarul.
Boleh silakan.
How expensive your system? In what macam mana kita ni, dia mungkin ada modul tertentu boleh, overall pun boleh. Macam mana start ni basic cost.
Yang tu saya rasa kita boleh discuss belakang kot.
Dah lah, saja off the cuff.
Pasal
Okay.
UM dapat software ni baru-baru ni kita ada buat grant, sumbangan grant, maknanya dia
private sector. Kalau private sector
sama, research grant dengan private sector dia punya price sama je. Cumanya grant for UM ataupun for university ni Archibus bagi dia free, provided that they need the price is the same. Baru-baru ni kita bagi the whole module yang kita tengok tadi tu, the whole module for the 100 user yang kita baru pernah deliver kepada UTM 3.6 juta.
Oh, okay.
Kan? Tapi itu dia beli semua lah. Maknanya dia bagi semua modul. But for the private sector, kalau dia nak pakai whenever, whatever modul yang dia ada a la carte modul, dan dia ada dia ada modul lah, dia ada menu. Dia ada menu. Kena buka buku menu.
Buffet pun ada.
Buffet pun ada. Saya offhand harga-harga ni saya tak boleh nak ingat sebab dia
entry point berapa satu modul entry point je.
Dulu dia ada entry point, dia panggil facilitator kan. Semua modul limited by the size of the building. Tak silap saya 75,000 all module.
Masuk training? Masuk training?
Tak, training by yourself.
Self-learn,
self-learning. Serius, the facilitator version is self-learning.
Okay. Yeah.
They call it facilitator. Available in late 90s until early 2000 dia dah tak jual dah modul tu. It's meant for people like a small organisation nak pakai sistem ni. Kan? Contohnya
project lah, dia kadang-kadang
for project. Dia beli and then dia can repeat the project and semua kan. Tapi sekarang ni because dia dah go by sistem ni macam subscription based, then you can subscribe. Dia tak adalah mahal sangat. Apa modul yang you nak pakai, you subscribe lah. Lepas you tak pakai, you tutup lah. You simpan data tu in Excel dalam database. And so whenever you want, you subscribe. And
new generation graduate are ready to take up this responsibility untuk managing that. Archibus. Syarul, your student.
InsyaAllah.
Okay. Mungkin ada dari saya jawab soalan tadi ke?
Ya, jawab. Apa kalau tak ada apa-apa, we follow up later.
Kalau you nak kita bagi you the alakat ke apa kan, jadi we can spec email over to you.
Bila buka puasa.
Boleh.
So okey lah kot
Okay.
saya rasa it's a very fruitful session. Thank you so much Mr. Sha'rainon.